Welcome to another episode of JAKPA Stories, the podcast where every story inspires another. Today on the podcast, we have a very interesting guest. I'm going to let you guys find out for yourself. But on the podcast today, we have someone whom I call the ServiceNow Evangelist. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. The name is Obah Tawo, aka Daddy O, aka the ServiceNow Evangelist, aka Mr. Young Money. And I'm glad to see you all.
Mr. Young Money.
Mhm.
That's a new one. I didn't know about that one.
Now you know.
Now
That's why
I
we're
know.
here.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So, Mr. Young Money,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure having you on JAKPA Stories.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Good. So, if you were to introduce yourself to people who don't know you, how would you introduce yourself?
So I'll start by saying, apart from the name, I'll call myself the philosopher, the scientist, the dad, and the friend.
I like that.
Yeah.
The philosopher,
Yeah. The scientist,
the scientist,
the dad.
the dad, and the friend.
Yeah.
That's good. So, when it comes to the scientist part, how did that come up?
First of all, from my educational background, before we get to why we're really here, in another world, I'm a chemical engineer. I'm a science student. I'm also a master's degree holder, a doctorate, honorable doctorate degree holder too. So from the scientific standpoint, I see things, yes, from physical science, but also a bit more beyond just the physical science and senses. So that's why I come out of the science.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come back to that a
All
little
right.
bit. Now, let's take things back, a couple of years ago.
All right.
So for those who don't know you, when it comes to your background, where are you from originally?
Originally from Niger, 100%.
You're 100% Nigerian.
100% Niger.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what city are you repping today?
I'm in Calgary right now, man. Repping Calgary, Alberta, and I'm here with you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So JAKPA,
Yes.
what does that word JAKPA mean to you?
It means Rono. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's what JAKPA. To me, JAKPA means, having a way out for a better life, for a better experience than compared to where you are. So that's what it means to me. Yeah.
Having a way out.
Yeah.
So when we go back to the very beginning,
Uh-huh.
so you went to school in Nigeria,
Correct.
primary, secondary, university.
Correct.
And after that, when did you start thinking of leaving? How did that come up?
So for my story will be a bit maybe different from others. After university, the plan really was, chemical engineer, young, graduated at 21. The world was my oyster, and I just wanted some form of experience, international experience. So I was fortunate enough to get some of that while still living in Nigeria. So I was
Okay.
like doing 3 months in the UK, 1 month in Nigeria.
Okay.
For between 2011 to 2014. That was a good exposure for me, what I really wanted.
Yeah.
But when it dawned on me that I had to, apart from just the travel, because I came to a point where at some time you may have money in your bank account, but your visa will not save you. Your visa will not save you. So that's why JAKPA came on my mind.
That's a good one. You may have money,
Yeah.
but your visa will not save you.
No.
And that is going back to using the Nigerian passport.
Correct.
So the freedom of going to different countries,
Different country.
always applying for visa all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the visa, some other times you get rejected.
Yeah, and I have a story to add. So
Tell us about it.
yeah, the story is like during the period of 2011 to 2014,
Yeah.
I was working in the UK, right? And I was going back and forth, like every 3 months, UK, 1 month in Nigeria.
Okay.
But every single time at the port of entry, there's a separate line for the green passport folks. And the guys, custom guys always ask me, what are you doing in my country?
Oh, wow. What are you doing in my country?
Yeah, what, like, very in a direct way. They're not smiling with you. Just they know you. They see your visa and everything. But what are you doing?
Interesting. So it's not really about the value that you're bringing.
Nah,
It's the fact that you're holding a passport that puts you in a position as if you don't belong to where you're going to.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've traveled to different countries. I've been opportunity to travel to different countries. I've experienced that in different ways. I haven't really had an experience where I'm told to my face, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, what brings you here? You have the visa on your passport. But
Yeah.
What brings you here? How long are you going to be here? You have a return ticket? So the typical questions, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the return ticket for me, I
Yeah.
experienced that one a couple of times. Like, address where you're going to,
Of course.
how long you're going to be there.
Mhm.
Sometimes they go the extra step of calling either the hotel or whoever it is you're staying with
To confirm, yeah.
to confirm.
Mhm.
So with that experience, would you say that's what triggered you to start thinking about how to navigate those hurdles whenever you're traveling?
Oh yes, that, and also I'm a man of I like making alternatives. I like making a plan B, C, D, and F.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So always planning
options.
ahead.
Yeah, always plan ahead. Make sure you have options so that just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from the UK, you go back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Go visit family,
Family,
I
friends.
suppose.
Correct.
Stay in Nigeria for some time, go back to the UK where you were working,
Mhm.
and that hurdle back and forth with visa, or like get annoyed when they're asking you those questions.
As a matter of fact, apart from I was never denied for the UK, but I also had a Schengen visa.
Okay.
But going to Madrid, because there was also an office in Madrid too. But one time I was denied a visa to Europe.
Interesting.
Yeah, one time, and I've been there like God knows.
And you already had it.
I had it, so it was expired, right?
Okay.
And I had to renew.
Yeah.
The renewal was saying no, sorry.
Despite the number of times you've been traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, when did Canada come into picture? Did you get tired one day of the UK, or was there particular events or incident that happened that just made you're like, you know what, I need to start thinking away from this zone?
So for Canada, for myself and my brothers, I think the opportunity was just there for us.
What do you mean?
So our dad lived in Canada in the 70s. We had our elder brother, like almost 20 years ago. He had been in Canada for a while, and Canada was really relaxed on his immigration process and all that. So the opportunity was there that naturally he applied for us to come in as PRs, and we did, and it made more sense to me because at that point in time, yes, I was doing in the UK and all that, but I figured having the international passport, having that,
the blue passport.
the blue passport, yeah. So, and I feel in my mind, I was like, you know what? Yes, it was easy at that time to get into Canada. If you know how difficult it is now, since the opportunity is here, you take it while it is. So I took the opportunity, left the job in Nigeria and the UK.
So you left the engineering job that you're doing.
Yeah. And then I was fortunate enough to, since the company I was working for is an international company, I called the office in here and they made the position available for me in Calgary.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So it's a bit
So you were coming in, you had a job.
Yes.
Sort of waiting for you.
Waiting for me in 2014, yeah.
You didn't go through
no really stress. I started, like, my situation was a bit different.
Yeah.
But the reasons why were the visa thing and having that option of if Nigeria goes south, as maybe it is for some people now,
yeah,
you have Canada.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because generally when people, if you hear the literal meaning of JAKPA, obviously it means run.
Yeah.
Take off.
Uh-huh.
I'm out of here. For you, it was more from the experience of having some hurdles while you were traveling.
Yes.
You were working, You're traveling back and forth,
Yep.
but just that annoyance every time you show up with your passport, it's almost like there's this bias
Correct.
when they see the color of your
There's
passport.
always a bias, and I remind there's always a line when you're going through.
A separate
Green
line.
passport line was always there, and that really pissed me off too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you're coming to Canada, what would you say was your number one goal?
So my coming to Canada at that time, still as an engineer, I was like, I'll give myself 3-4 years, but that's what it took for a PR as a landed PR to get a passport.
Okay.
So I have the passport, then I can start looking back home to Nigeria. So my plan was really to get the passport so I can have that option.
Okay.
But things happened, family came, friends came, and then we had a kind of tough period in Nigeria that wasn't the best.
That was probably around like between 2017 to 2020.
Correct. 100%.
Because if I recall correctly, a lot of the people I've spoken with, that's about the period when they decided to leave.
And that was a period I was thinking I would go back. Because I came to Canada in 2014.
Yeah.
So by 2017, I should have been ready with my passports to go back. I almost got an offer to back to Nigeria. No, I got an offer back home, but
it wasn't tempting enough.
Yeah, it wasn't tempting enough.
make you
And
go
then
back.
the way the situation of things. So
you
yeah.
just, you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
The door is not shut, but
But-
I need to focus on something else right now.
correct.
So you came to, was it always Calgary for you, or did you go to another city first of all before coming
Well,
to Calgary?
Okay, maybe another brief story again.
This is JAKPA
Yeah,
Stories.
this is JAKPA Stories. Oh, yeah,
We'll get into it.
yeah. That's why we're here. So, coming to Canada, my point of entry was Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also land in Manitoba. So upon getting into Toronto, my flights to Manitoba, this was when I knew that I was in a beautiful place and I had to stay back. My flight to Toronto was overbooked somehow, and I couldn't get on that flight with Air Canada. So shout out to Air Canada. They were very good then. They told me, you know what? Well, sorry, you can't get on this flight. The next flight would be in 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. So what we can do is for every hour that you're delayed, we'll give you $100.
Amazing.
And they gave me a food voucher, meal voucher at the airport. I was like, really $100? So I was like, can you keep it for 24 hours? No joke. I asked, can you keep it for 24 hours?
You want to sleep at the airport?
Yeah. They're like, no, well, we could see how the max you could do is maybe 8 hours. I said, it's actually 8 hours. Keep it for 8. I'm not ready to go into.
So that's how you made
$800 on landing in Canada.
Without doing any work,
nothing.
Just because your flight was delayed.
Yes.
Come on, man.
For real. And I got the check of $800.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
I can clearly see if I was in that position and I'm traveling alone, I would gladly stay at the airport.
I was ready to stay there 24 hours, man. Like, come on,
So that was at Toronto.
That was at Toronto when this happened, yeah. So I waited for 8 hours and just chilled, relaxed. And then when I got to Manitoba, I stayed with my brother and his family there and waited for my check. And it came.
So Manitoba, you got soft landing.
Right, yeah, soft landing.
So for those who don't know, soft landing, we always talk about it. When you're going to a city and you have family, friends, anybody there that would help just make your journey easier.
Right.
Make it easy for you to adapt within the society. You don't have to start hustling too much for housing, for rent and stuff like that. So your brother made it easy. You had soft landing in Manitoba. When you got to Manitoba, prior to that, you were traveling to UK back and forth. But was there any culture shock when you landed in Canada? For me, being at the airport and making $800, that's like culture shock.
That's a good culture shock. Yeah, I agree.
So, but what else would you say was like culture shock for you?
So, landed in Manitoba, so there's a city, Winnipeg, knowing that I've been in London and Paris and Madrid and all that. So I was looking forward to the American dream. No shade to Manitoba people or Winnipeg, but I was like, this ain't the American dream.
Shout out to our folks in Manitoba.
But yes, but
Don't come for me. Go for
so I was like, is this all Canada? Because I didn't, when I landed in Toronto from the airport, I went to my hotel, chilled and waited, and went to the airport, back to the airport. So, but in Manitoba, it was okay, not too bad. And I came very close when just still about winter, so it was quite cold.
Okay, what month was that?
That was in March.
Okay.
So
okay.
it was still about,
So
yes, it was still there, yeah. So it was quite cold. Not too many people outside. You know, that I was like,
slight hibernation.
yes, hibernation. I was like, what's going on? Where's everybody? You know, and of course, my Winnipeg was something else. Well, okay. From there, my contracts with my company I got was ready, so I just came to Calgary, and that's what happened.
How long were you in Manitoba?
I was there for 2 weeks.
Oh, just 2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks, yeah.
So was it the Manitoba vibe that chased you out, or you just couldn't wait to leave Manitoba because of that initial experience?
So, I'll say 2 weeks because my contract was ready to start work in Calgary.
Okay.
But 2 weeks also, I couldn't wait, man. I was like, is this Canada or where am I? You know? Yeah.
And prior to that, you had traveled to
I've been to
US.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been to other cities.
So with that exposure from seeing the way Yankee, like we called it back then,
correct.
From seeing other cities and then getting to Manitoba, it wasn't representing what you know.
Yeah, it was
the typical.
The Western world. Yeah, it was quite of a shocker to me. Maybe because it was winter. I know, winter it's always gloomy, it's dull, you know, and there's nothing more doing out there. So I was always indoors, and probably was driving me crazy a bit. So that's why.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So for you, when it comes to the reason why you decided to move to Canada, it wasn't family.
No, not at
it
all.
wasn't because of your career.
Not really, no. The opportunity was there.
Yeah.
And I had to grab it.
So it just happened.
Yes.
And then partially because of the annoyance of not being able to freely travel.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So Calgary, what was your experience when you landed in Calgary? Did it make a difference compared to Manitoba? Did it feel like you were now in Yankee?
So Calgary is a bigger city. Calgary is beautiful. Calgary is my city now. There was a huge difference. You know, maybe if I stayed longer in Winnipeg, I would have felt the same thing. But coming to Calgary, I was like, I think this is where I should be. And Calgary has the Chinook winds. For those who don't know what Chinook winds is, even if it's winter, it's cold. You have some warm winds that blow, and then things get better. You know,
the snow doesn't stay too much on the ground.
Yeah. So and Calgary had opportunities. So
and that was still March.
Yeah.
So winter in Calgary and winter in Manitoba.
No, Calgary is better, man.
Calgary is a lot better.
Calgary is a lot better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't lived in Manitoba. I haven't been out there, so I don't really know. So you felt like landing in Calgary, the weather is a bit milder, not too cold like what you experienced in
Winnipeg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a bit from there. You started a job in Calgary. Was that job still in line with what you were doing before, or did things start changing at that point?
So it was meant to be in line. Similar, but more on the process side, less on the control and automation side.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of a shift for me, right? Trying to work the way the new company or the new guys here work.
Yeah.
And of course, in the Western side here, once there's any shift in oil price, that's where the shocker really hit.
And back then in Calgary, I think the oil industry is still doing well.
Yeah, just still doing well, yeah.
Okay. When you came in, compared to working in the UK and how the work style here is, was there experiences that you had that made you pause and think, or try to compare in your mind between what you're experiencing in the UK and what the Canadian lifestyle was?
First of all, I would say the very glaring one was the company I was working for in Nigeria and the UK. I had done, like, after every 5 years, you get some award or recognition. So my colleagues I left back in the UK and Nigeria, after 5 years, they were given a good package. In Canada, what they gave to me was a speaker.
Like a Bluetooth speaker.
Bluetooth speaker for 5 years of being the
Oh my
company.
God.
So that was the beginning of my shock and my hit. Because when I called my people, like, oh yeah, they got X amount of package and all that. But I said, man, I got a damn speaker. so
that's when you started experiencing the conservative
yeah
lifestyle
here, yeah.
Here in Canada.
Yeah.
Did you feel like wanting to switch places back there to?
Oh yeah, like 100%.
Go get a better.
Yeah, I was like, I should have just stayed a bit longer back home without forecoming, but yeah.
So, in terms of sacrifices, building the lifestyle that you have here, what would you say you've sacrificed building the lifestyle that you've always wanted here?
So, in terms of sacrifices, like, the way we grew up, right? It's hard work. We believe like hard work pays, smart work pays, being focused, being diligent. I have this strange philosophy of the amount of pain you're ready to endure would almost equate to the amount of glory you can achieve.
I like that.
Yeah, so that's my train of thought. The
amount of pain
you're ready
to endure
equates the amount of glory you're going to achieve. So
that makes sense.
So the pain could come in, like, if your friends are going out, you're not going out. If there's a Netflix being show, you're not watching that. When people are sleeping, you're awake, working, thinking, and building. So
I like that, because it's almost like getting to the point where FOMO is completely under control for you.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
The fear of missing out from what
yeah.
is trending.
Yeah, up to now.
That's deep.
Yeah,
because right now, with the way a lot of people do things, it gets to a particular phase whereby if you're building, it takes a lot of sacrifice.
Yes.
So that fear of missing out with what is trending, what people are doing, putting that under control 100%. That's the pain that you're talking about.
That's the pain I'm talking about, yeah.
But the glory that comes with that pain.
The soft life, man.
Soft life.
Soft life. Yeah.
So on soft life, we've been friends for over 15 years.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they see you with a soft life right now, I personally don't even know whenever you're in the city, because it's almost like at every point in time you're in different places.
Yeah, like today. Just from the airport, yeah, just to get to here.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, he literally just landed and came straight, which I really appreciate, because one thing in JAKPA Stories is about sharing some of these experiences so that other immigrants who are in different phases of their journey, there's someone out there who is thinking of immigrating.
Yep.
They're probably contemplating, do I go to Canada? Do I go to Australia, US, UK? Mm-hmm. There's someone who is already in the process of moving.
Correct.
And there's someone who has just landed and is thinking, how is his next couple of months going to look like? When someone sees you and sees the soft life that you're living right now, what's the first thing that you tell the person for each of these phases where they are?
For each phase you're in, just always know it always gets better. It always gets better, So have a plan, have a goal of, and make a decision and take that step. So because you could be contemplating your mind and going around in circles, right? But make that step, because if you don't make the step, time is gonna pass by. And opportunities like when you're prepared. Opportunity loves preparation, opportunities love action. So whatever phase you're in, right, just make that step and see where it takes you to. But it has to be a well thought and calculated one.
Well thought and calculated.
Yeah.
So I would probably interpret that as doing research.
Oh yeah.
Research about where you're going to. Research about what you want to do.
Correct.
Where you're going to. Let's come back to you when it comes to what you're doing right now.
Uh-huh.
How would you introduce yourself with what you're doing to people out there?
So I would say, for me, what I'm doing now, I would just call myself very grateful, graceful, and fortunate.
Graceful and fortunate.
Grateful, graceful, and fortunate, because I was able to tap in to what I'm doing now as soon as I heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to help our listeners out there. And if you don't mind, I want to peel some of those layers a bit.
Mhm.
Can you tell us what you're referring to?
So grateful, because what I'm doing now is a cloud software as a service application called ServiceNow.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a ServiceNow architect. How I heard about ServiceNow was, when I was trying to make the transition from engineering to IT, I was not working then because I started to experience some of the Western world hardship. But then, so I was now switching over, trying to read on SQL.
Okay.
I was learning my SQL at that time because I was trying to, like, how do I get into IT? Because the oil and gas industry in the Western world is up and down. At least in Canada. I think the US is more consistent, but at
Okay.
least in Canada, it's up and down. It's very good. It goes bad, good, but so I needed stability and all that. So while I was studying that, my brother, who was on your show,
Yeah.
at that point,
Shout out to Neji.
Neji, yes, yeah, oh yeah. He was. Or I thought he called himself Bobby now.
Bobby.
Yes, exactly. So he was with Deloitte at that time,
Okay.
and that was the first time I ever heard about ServiceNow. He came back from work one day and was like, Papa, you have to study ServiceNow. That there are so many opportunities in ServiceNow, but they don't have enough people.
Wow.
And I believe you, at that point in time, I just closed my SQL server. I was almost done though. So I closed
You're
that
already studying for SQL. You're
yeah.
going to take like a certification.
Yes, MySQL, Oracle, and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I was preparing for.
Which would definitely take you towards the path of like website.
Yeah, like a
or the
DB,
IT.
a database administrator.
Or DB. Okay.
Database administrator for Microsoft SQL Server,
Okay.
or Oracle, and all that, right? So I dropped that, and I started reading ServiceNow, and I've never stopped reading ServiceNow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when you were studying for ServiceNow, you were out of a job at that point.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the motivation was there. I better get this done, like so I can find something to do and move forward.
100%. So while I was making that transition, my brother going to work and telling me that they need ServiceNow people. Like, if you know ServiceNow, you have a job.
You have
today.
a job.
And you don't tell a man with ambition,
yeah,
that there's an opportunity.
So the opportunity was there. All you needed to do was
get ready.
Yeah. So you started preparing for the ServiceNow certification.
Yes.
And the first one, for those who are interested, because I'm sure someone out there is probably Googling ServiceNow right now, which I believe they have a bigger name at this point compared to when you started.
Compared to when I started, yes.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
So for someone out there who is interested in learning more about ServiceNow, what would you recommend to the person?
So, I mean, if you want to start with ServiceNow, you go in as you are, because ServiceNow it's an ecosystem that plugs in everything, every kind of skill you may have: banking, HR, project management, business analysts, developer, front and back end, or you can name it, right? But what you need really it's always good to have a mentor or a coach, because there's so many resources out there right now. You need to be directed and targeted.
Okay. So for someone out there who is interested, can just go Google ServiceNow.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would be the first step? As someone who is experienced, what would you tell the person to do first if they want to get started in that path?
Yeah. So first of all, know what ServiceNow is. Know the industries that ServiceNow caters for.
Okay.
Just for the show, like, ServiceNow is an enterprise software platform whereby companies subscription as a service to utilize it for managing and transforming their digital processes, right? So be it, asset management, project management, ticketing, most ticketing systems, most companies you've called for a complaint or on service, most likely is
They
ServiceNow,
probably use it.
using ServiceNow. Yeah. So just letting, yeah.
So back then, when you got into it, there were a lot of positions.
Yes.
They didn't have sufficient skills to meet the demand.
Mhm.
Fast forward, how many years ago was that?
It's almost 10 years now.
Almost 10. Wow.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. We're the pioneers.
That's why you're living the soft life, right?
I hope so.
So if you fast forward back then
Mhm.
versus now, the demand, well, how would you rate both of them now?
So I would say the demand is still there. It's just unfortunate for Canada. I think it's general because of the way the industry is, or businesses are out now and all that, right? They need skilled persons. You have to really know it. Compared to them, if you just knew what ServiceNow was, you would not get that job. Back then, if you just knew what ServiceNow was, you're most likely going to get the job. But now, you really need to be skilled. You really need to talk the talk and do the work of ServiceNow in Canada. I think in the US, it's still very much active. But for skilled people and all that,
Okay.
your LinkedIn nonstop. Recruiters are always on you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So would you say the drop in Canada right now has been because of what we've been experiencing, like the tariffs and all of that? Do you think it's because of that, or just a trend in the industry within Canada?
I think generally to be the economy, right?
Okay.
Most companies Canada, I think they could be struggling a bit, right? So the mass hiring and just
Firing.
going on, yeah, just to stay afloat, maybe causing
Yeah.
it, yeah. So the economy in Canada is a bit in a position, but I think that's what affected the ServiceNow demand in Canada, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna come back to ServiceNow and some other stuff which you're doing, but let's soften things a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. You are now tuned into JAKPA Stories. Buckle up, buckle up. We're going for a ride. It's going down. We're going for a ride. Hey, it's going down. We're going for a ride. It's going down. We're going for a ride. Are you ready?
I'm going to ask you some questions now, and I want you to just respond with what comes to your mind as the first choice.
Wonderful.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Jollof rice or shawarma?
Jollof rice.
Jollof rice. Is it the Niger jollof or the Ghanaian?
Niger for life. Sorry, Ghana.
Shout out to my Ghanaian brothers, but I think we have a winner today for Niger jollof.
Yes.
Until we have maybe a Ghanaian.
Ghanaian, then maybe most likely. Yeah.
All right. Winter or summer?
Summer.
Summer. So back in Nigeria, it's very hot.
Yes.
And I've talked to a lot of people that they've always been looking forward to winter.
Until they get it. Until they experience it, then yeah.
Until you experience the winter.
Yes.
Especially the type you have in Calgary.
Correct.
So for you, it's summer any day,
any time, because you could always soften the temperature by being an AC.
Okay.
AC car, AC house.
I love winter, but not the -30s. I love places being cool. Just
maybe spring, you can say, or fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But winter, summer, man.
WhatsApp or iMessage?
WhatsApp all the day. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why did you say WhatsApp?
So WhatsApp, I can connect with everybody. Whether be on iPhone, Android, whatever. Yeah.
As the global connectivity master.
Yes. Global connector.
All right. Nollywood, Hollywood.
And I was not meant to think, but now I'm thinking because on a good day, I would have just said Hollywood all the way. But with the recent movies coming out in Nollywood, To Kill a Monkey, man. Nollywood has changed my mind completely.
Yeah. Shout out to the crew.
Yeah, the crew, yeah, of course.
of that movie.
Yeah.
I think you're the second person who is calling it out. And I think it's a testament of the amount of work that is going into the movie industry out there.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the directors who are putting in a lot of work to produce quality movies at this point. It never used to be like that back then.
Nah, at all.
When it was almost as if it's drama.
Yeah, always drama, black magic, and some boring stuff.
Yeah.
But now this time, like I couldn't believe it. I mean, make out I'm serious. She's going places. Tyler Perry should look for her, man. They
Right.
gotta do something together.
I know I'm with you on that 100%. Shout out to Kemi Adetiba.
Yeah.
And lastly, on that particular one, football, basketball.
That's the real football, the one you could
Of course, we're not talking about
American
the soccer, the football.
football.
We grew up knowing it as football.
The rest of the world knows that football.
Yeah,
It's only North America. The North America is Canada and US. Every other place,
true.
it's all good.
So back to ServiceNow.
Yeah.
What do you think is the trend when it comes to that particular industry? Because looking at how almost every company right now uses that as the base platform to just keep scaling up. Do you think it's going to stay that way, or what would you say about ServiceNow and the future?
I would like 10 years ago, I said ServiceNow at least is here to stay for 10 years. And I mean, I'm on the 10th, getting to the 10th year now.
Yeah.
ServiceNow has at least another 10 to 15 years to still be on top. Reason being, like 10 years ago, it was all about companies trying to understand what they own, give a better experience for their clients and customers. So it was all about setup of service. The companies have now set up service. Now they are running with ServiceNow. And now AI is in. ServiceNow has imbibed a lot of AI tools into it. So there's a huge runway for ServiceNow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the AI thing because right now, with almost every company in the world, the AI trend right now is moving so fast.
Correct.
Now within ServiceNow, using AI, putting that within the platform,
Yep.
you feel like it's going to give them more time to stay
A lot
relevant.
more time. So 90 to 95%, in my opinion, 90 to 95% of medium to large size companies in North America are using ServiceNow. That's my personal stats, right? Based on that, only about 10, 20% of that 90% are using AI or even understand how to use the AI in ServiceNow. They will eventually use ServiceNow's AI.
Yeah.
So there's still a long run.
Amazing.
Yeah.
For a listener out there that wants to learn more about ServiceNow, is it okay if we connect them to you?
Oh, yeah. So there are two things I'm doing to give back, because now I'm calling what ServiceNow Evangelist,
The evangelist.
ServiceNow creator, the pioneer, the enthusiast,
Yeah.
choir master,
Yes.
everything. So right now, one of the ways is I'm a tutor. I don't know if you know that. I'm also an instructor.
I had no idea.
I'm an instructor at the
And
college.
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
Yeah.
Right?
So the college in Calgary is SAIT, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology.
Okay.
So I developed with the team the curriculum for ServiceNow. That's in SAIT, and I'm also teaching it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm currently on the fall session, right? Currently teaching ServiceNow foundations, for students and people that want to learn ServiceNow in class. What I'm also doing for those in Nigeria, I set up the ServiceNow AMA, and there's another architect, Charles.
Charles. Yeah. I think I've met Charles.
Yeah, Charles and my team in Nigeria too.
Yeah.
Afi and Dami, Yeah. So we got that set ServiceNow University meetup Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in Unilag in May. We did a workshop. We're currently actively training ServiceNow for Nigerians that want to learn.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like a really, really good way of giving back.
Yes.
Because I think at this phase, when you've achieved most of the things that you dreamed of achieving, I think it gets to a point where you want to be able to start helping other people.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that you're doing something like that to give back, not just here
Yeah, not just
in
here.
Canada, but going back
Yeah.
to
So
Nigeria.
going back to Nigeria, because I believe that, as being in the ServiceNow space, what I've seen is I work a lot with the Indians from the East and all that. And, as much as, yes, they're quite good at what they're doing, I think Nigerians can do the same. We just need the
Amazing.
exposure. We just need someone with enough passion to say, you know what, I can build something in Nigeria for Nigerians, right? So that's my own way of seeing that, rather than maybe directing some of the outsourced work to India, I can direct it to
Put it
Nigeria.
back home.
Yeah.
That's really good. And how challenging has it been? Has it been what you envisage it to be, or has there been some hurdles along the way that needed you to pause and keep pushing?
So as a businessman to, and an entrepreneur, yeah, there are always challenges. I expect challenge. If there are no challenges, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Really. So the only thing I'm saying here is those back at home in Nigeria do not understand how good ServiceNow can be for them. So I went, to University of Lagos. It was very expensive. And my team, very expensive. But we got the workshop going. We got over 500 people
Oh,
in the
wow.
hall. We got
Amazing.
talking about ServiceNow, branded everything from our pockets, from a very passionate perspective. That's the thing. It makes me smile when I talk about it. But then the students in class, not too many signed up for the class, which is free. The same class I'm teaching, or similar class I'm teaching, in SITS here in Calgary, you're going to pay $1,500, $1,500.
Which,
to
if you
get in.
convert that to
Naira,
Nigerian, that's like over 1.5 million.
Yes.
And people are getting it free.
Free, yes. That's what I'm doing free for Nigerians, because
Wow.
I want to do something for Nigeria. But the not many students are taking it serious. What do you do?
Well, what do you think could be responsible for that? Is it the exposure to the knowledge, or not just understanding the prospects?
Not understanding the prospects.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a prospect. They don't understand the prospects. What's still popular in Nigeria, I'm sure, is CCNA,
The networking,
all those things. That's come on. Yeah.
So it's almost like you're bringing something that is like 5 steps ahead, and you're trying to take it back home.
I'm trying to take it back home, yes.
To make people think about what's going on right now.
What's going on right now is also trickling into Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Africa generally. So you can imagine if there's skills.
I've seen some people working remotely from Nigeria as ServiceNow, either consultants, BPCs, or BPC is like a business process consultant. A few of them as technical consultants as well. So those are people who have keyed in.
Yes, they've keyed in early
into what's happening globally.
Yes.
And they're reaping the benefits still working in
Nigeria.
What will you tell someone out there who is listening right now, who is in Nigeria or in any of the other African countries? What would you tell them about what you're trying to do and the opportunity that some of them are just looking at it moving by?
I'll say key in. The same way I keyed in the moment my brother came back home from work and said, ServiceNow is the way. It's the same information I'm giving to you guys, that ServiceNow is the way. ServiceNow is one of the ways. I'm now a Taoist. So for those that know about the Tao Te Ching, the way, there are several ways, but ServiceNow is one of them. Yeah.
All right. So if you're watching and you're interested in learning more about ServiceNow, how can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I get lots of requests, and I'll probably have to go and accept a few. But you can find me on LinkedIn. You could find on Instagram. I don't know. Yeah, maybe on Instagram.
We'll put it up there
for
those who want to connect with you on Instagram as well.
I know that. Yeah. So LinkedIn, Instagram, maybe.
Amazing. So working within the industry, what would you say has been the most challenging thing for you when it comes to ServiceNow?
For everything that is good, there's an amount of effort that needs to be put in, right? The late nights, the research, moving into architecture, moving to the C-suite side of things, because my brain is a bit more on the developer side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see things moving that way, but moving into that direction and trying to work with, people like management and all that. To me, that became challenging to me, because
Speaking the language.
speaking that it's a different kind of language
Yeah.
than speaking as an application developer or an administrator, right?
Yeah. So that has been the challenging part
for
you.
me now. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which I think for me, it has been the other way around, discussing with directors, managers, and all that, interpreting some of that complex technical language and making it easy for a 4-year-old to understand.
Yeah.
It's interesting how for you, it's
the
other way around.
It's the other way around. Because I'm like, this is what I'm kind of a bit direct. I was like, I'm like, this is how it should be done. But there's a C-suite language. There's a soft way of saying it and explaining it.
So you're learning that language.
That's the language I have to speak now. Yeah.
So any form of like stereotypes that you've faced?
So for me, I believe very much in breaking down the door and taking ownership.
If you knock on the door and it's not open, you break
it down. Basically, break it down by showing that you belong here. You're technically very competent. You're the best among the best, and that's one of the challenges that you have to prove yourself times 2.
Yeah.
To make sure that so they listen to you.
It's almost like you be so good at what you do that people cannot say no to you.
No, exactly. That's the thing. And that takes extra effort, and you must be ready for that.
Yeah. So I think it connects back to what you said at the beginning, where the amount of time you put into something and the results that you're getting, it's almost like it's directly proportional.
Yeah, much.
Cool. So what's next for you? It seems like you've sort of conquered the ServiceNow industry. So what are the other things that keep you up at night?
What's next for me, man? Retirement.
Interesting.
Yeah, I started thinking about retirement. So,
what does retirement mean to you?
Maintaining the lifestyle from 50 and beyond. So
retirement, not going below
a certain lifestyle.
What you're experiencing right now in terms of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it's planning the next core 10 years.
Nice.
That's next one.
And is that outside of ServiceNow?
So that will be within ServiceNow, outside of ServiceNow, under ServiceNow, top ServiceNow. Big way.
That's the philosopher part of you coming up right now.
Yeah, you have to. You have to have work.
I like that. Complete this sentence for me. Dear immigrants, you're
welcome to JAKPA Stories.
I didn't see that coming.
No.
Yeah,
that's the way.
All right. The first time you heard about your rent in Canada,
I was shook. I did not believe. It was quite fortunate and unfortunate when I was in England.
Yeah.
Because when you're sponsored by the company, everything is paid for.
Oh, the company pays for it?
Everything.
So you didn't...
I did not...
You didn't go through that experience where you were directly taking care of your biggest bill in the month?
I wasn't thinking of anything.
You were living a soft life.
That's the only life I know. Until I got here. So when I figured that, okay, there's something like rent that you may be paying like 2 million naira a month.
Very real.
Yeah. That's when it got real to me.
And just on that, we're fortunate enough to travel to London.
Mm-hmm.
Just got back last week. And while walking through the streets of London, very close to Buckingham Palace, we saw an apartment. Guess how much that apartment cost?
I'm on the leg, I'm sure.
That apartment was going for 6,500 every week.
Or
pounds.
Okay.
So let's not try to do the conversion. But when I saw that, it opened my mind to different perspectives, right? Because 6,500 per week, right? From doing my maths, well, that's like 26,000 per month, pounds. Now that's like down payment for a lot of houses.
Yeah,
here in Canada.
100%. So you must be flying a private jet to live in that place.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, we are the private jet level people. We'll be wearing pajamas.
Well, all right. The biggest blessing of immigrant is
I think being in a society that values human efforts, that values diversity, it's not interested in your religion. Because I think that's what's dealing with Nigeria right now.
Yeah.
You see the money when you put in the work.
Have you been in a situation where when you thought about, I don't know how much stuff you've done in Nigeria or for folks who are from other countries, where sometimes you put in work, you do a contract, and you're literally waiting for your money. You're chasing your money.
Man, so
Did I just open another box?
Another box there. So, I've been doing service now for so long, right? And you get paid based on the schedule and agreement. So one of the big implementations of ServiceNow in Nigeria, I am and was part of it.
Okay.
But you know how it goes. I'm still waiting to be paid.
Oh, wow. That's not a good experience.
Exactly. So that's a problem with our society. Yeah.
I think that's one thing which I pray and hope that we get to that point where the good work that people do, they don't have to chase to be able to get what they put in.
Correct.
Because that's one of the things here, which when you put in the work, you're not thinking about whether you're going to get paid.
It's not a thought at all. It's normal.
It's like it's an auto.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
Wow. So for those of you who are getting the free tutorials on ServiceNow and you're still playing with it, think about it again.
Oh, yeah.
Because that could be a gold mine that you're sitting on.
Yeah, it could be. And I really want to get enough technically competent hands in Nigeria, because with the space we're in now, whenever there are those kind of opportunities that they want, probably need outsourced jobs or external hands.
Yeah.
It's cheaper labor for them here, but for you guys, it's good money, right?
Sure.
So you should be going to Nigeria. In my opinion, if we're at this level, I should be taking it to Nigeria and not India. Sorry, India.
The gold mine.
Yeah.
Is out there.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice for someone who is in the journey right now? Someone who is probably thinking, someone who has probably just landed. What's one piece of advice that you can give that person, someone who is trying to succeed? You've had a lot of experience when it comes to navigating certain things. I want you to talk to some folks out there that would help make their path a bit easier for them.
Yeah. So basically what I always start with is, if you have made a choice, if you have embarked on a journey, trust the process. Because the universe, this is my side of things, the universe will always answer. Always. The universe always answers, So trust the journey and keep doing it, because there are a certain number of knocks on the door that are required, and that door will open for you. So keep going at it, provided it's legit.
Good call out.
Disclaimer. Provided it's legit, just make sure that, you're doing what you have to do to achieve it, because every single situation already has a potential of existence. So you just have to move to that vibration, and then you got it.
The philosophical part is coming out.
It has to come out. Yeah.
So when it comes to retirement,
Okay.
because I've seen the entrepreneurial part of you as well.
Yeah.
How did you balance that with work? Because I think for a lot of folks out there who are probably doing a 9-to-5, some people are asking themselves the questions: how long am I going to keep doing this?
Exactly.
Wake up every day, go put in the 7.5 or 8 hours. By evening, you're tired. For you, how did you keep that balance between pushing forward with the entrepreneurial part of you and the tech enthusiasm that you have?
I've always been of the mindset that I've been studying the greats, I've been reading on the greats, I observe the current greats. They all do not have one stream of income. They have multiple streams of income. And if you within yourself decide and know, you have to know that you're great to follow the same path. And whatever it takes to do that, you do it. If it takes a longer hour, ServiceNow gives you long nights. So imagine adding, that's why you more to read. That's why the friends around the city never see me. The times you call me, man, I can't speak. Like, it's not like I don't ignore it. I just cannot speak, because I'm on ServiceNow, I'm on the cinema, I'm on my bubble tea, I'm on so many things. I'm juggling a lot, but I think that's how greatness is born. That's how the people that have cracked the code. They went through that. I'm
Like,
knocking to crack my code.
You're still knocking
I'm
on
still knocking, yeah.
different
On
doors.
different doors, man. Yeah.
But we'll check in with you again in a couple of months and see if some additional codes have been cracked.
No, they
But
have.
right now, the ServiceNow code has been cracked.
It's been cracked, man. Crack open.
And the entrepreneurial code, you've cracked some of the code.
Oh yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it should be. Especially as a Nigerian, so there's something about us born to succeed. That's the only mindset you should have. We're born to succeed. So why not?
Would you say it's based on the experiences growing up that gives Nigerians the push with which they used to chase things? Or would you say it's more of an individual thing?
So I think it's a combination of so many things. One is a combination of the experience in Nigeria, because we know how to enjoy ourselves. We know how to make money look good. We know how to feel good. Then the individual side of things too is like my mindset is I have no other option. That's great. Failure is not an option. I may delay, but I don't see it as it's not part of my reality.
Yeah.
That's where you need to get to. It's not part of my reality.
So it sounds like, first of all, it's a mindset thing.
Yes.
In addition to the experiences from background,
Correct.
failure is not an option.
It exists for maybe some people, but doesn't exist for me. Like, it could be there, it could be delays, but the reality of it doesn't exist because everything works in vibrations.
Well, we'll come back to the vibrations in a
There has to be
future
part two,
episode.
yes.
This has been really, really good. And I'm going to bring it up again, probably within a group conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So we can peel off some additional layers there. Now, to wrap things up, finish this sentence. To me, JAKPA means
step out and achieve what you're meant to achieve.
I like that.
And that's about it.
Step out and achieve what you're meant to achieve.
Yeah.
Now, that's coming directly from the ServiceNow Evangelist. Thank you for all that you're doing for the folks out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving back to the society. There's one tradition that we have here on the podcast.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
I was born ready for it. I'm ready.
As a Nigerian boy.
Right?
All right. So we have a tradition on the podcast where every guest on the podcast leaves a question for the next guest. I don't get to read it.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh.
The only time we open up the book is when you're sitting right there.
That's so good.
We're gonna.
So does the previous guest know the next guest?
No, the previous guest has no idea who is coming in next.
Okay.
So you're gonna read the question and then answer the question, and then you are going to leave a question for the next guest.
Okay. Where do you see yourself being of the most service to others? I think I know who will ask this question. So where I see myself being is I think I have so much to offer from a motivational perspective, from a business perspective too, whereby there are times when I'm talking about life, when I'm talking about success, when I'm not talking about collective individualism, collective spirituality and all that. Not to say I can be a pastor, but I think there's some inner knowledge in me that I can share to people to help raise them, to help bring them to their own realization or their own potential. So that's why I feel I'll be of greater service to people, whereby, I could just help direct people to achieve what they need to do.
It's almost like being that pointer.
Yes.
Understanding what someone needs to be able to take the next step. And just guiding them.
Yes.
You're the perfect fit for JAKPA Stories. Because that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing. Because we believe that your story is going to help another person. And that's why we say at JAKPA Story, every story inspires another.
Another. Nice.
Now think about the things you've shared today. Think about someone who never knew about ServiceNow, but goes and starts checking out what ServiceNow is.
Correct.
Who knows? That person could be our next guest here, and the person could start quoting you. I heard about this thing from Obah here at on the show.
Yeah.
Your story has inspired another person's story. So now it's your turn to leave a question for the next guest. I'm not going to tell you what to write, but it's up to you. You done?
All done.
So whoever is going to be sitting there,
I have something interesting.
will have something interesting. A question from the philosopher himself.
Yep.
Well, Obah Tawo, it's been a pleasure having you on JAKPA Stories.
Pleasure is mine.
And I really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to the next one when you crack some more codes.
Yep.
Because I think in life, we all need a cheat code. So if you know someone who has cracked the code, you don't have to go figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Just connect with them, try to know what they know, and follow the same steps. That's why we're here with JAKPA Stories. We want to make things easy for everybody. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yes.
And we look forward to having you again in a future episode.
I'll be here. Shout out to JAKPA Stories. Shout out to Mr. Divine. Shout out to the background crew. And of course, shout out to you all that are part of this journey, and you all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
All right, then. Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.